textbook because I'm going to keep on referring back to the textbook today. So guys, chapter 19 is about professional management and the small business. So we actually we are actually going to look at the different types of management, the different types of leadership inside of an organization. So that's why I'm saying that I'm going to refer heavily on the textbook today. So guys, at the beginning of chapter 19, it talks about Yanni Mouton, who's actually one of the founding members of PSG or PSG. So what actually happened with Yanni Mouton is he was also one of the CEOs he actually founded another investment company. And he was one of the three people that founded this company, and they then actually fired him. So he actually wrote a book about it, and the book is called "And Then They Fired Me." So although they don't say here, if you guys ever have the time, or if you're ever looking for something to read, you guys have to go and read his book. It's a very inspirational book. He eventually just sat at home. He was just so devastated on how the directors can fire him from his own company, essentially, and that his self-esteem really did take a knock. So he really stayed at home, didn't really look after himself. And then one day his wife actually got so fed up with him that she said to him, "You're now going to dress properly. You're going to pick yourself up from the ground, and you better start doing something." And that is how he then founded PSG, which is actually another investment company. He is now, according to Google, he is now a billionaire because of PSG. So really go and read about Yanni Mouton. It's quite inspirational. You guys are more than welcome to buy his book as well. So guys, themes, I mean, you guys know this by now. Themes, you remember to use it when you're studying. Make sure that you know the work. The first thing that we're going to look at is, what is leadership? Okay. So, and that is why I have this balloon here in the beginning. Okay, this little orange balloon here. Okay, this is essentially what leadership is about, because leadership involves pointing the way. It does vary as the business grows. So, for instance, in the beginning of the company, the leader will be really invested in the company. He will also help with managing the company, doing the work. But as the company grows, the leader might move away from actually helping in the company, helping with the actual business, and will take on more of a leadership role in terms of motivation and just moving the business forward. So qualities of some of the founders. The first one is that the person needs to be a trailblazer who enlists others to work with him. So what it means with this, guys, is they sometimes need to forge the path. And this is what entrepreneurship is about. It's about taking a risk, identifying an opportunity that other people may be overlooked, and that is what makes you a trailblazer. Sometimes you have to go and forge your own path. They have a tolerance for ambiguity, and then the capacity for adaptation. Remember that when you start your business, things are not always going to go your way. Things are not always going to be smooth and happiness. You need to adapt for when that macro environment or when that industry environment hits you or hits the company. We need to think of, what can we do now? So what makes a leader effective? The first one, they are focused intently on attaining the business's goals. Okay, so guys, what we mean with this is that, remember, when you start a company, you have a goal, you have a vision and a mission of where you want to see the company go. And this is what you have to be focused on. You can't lose sight of your focus. This is where you want your company to grow to. They have to grow towards the vision. Then it's someone who creates a personal relationship with employees based on loyalty and respect. There needs to be mutual loyalty and mutual respect. The leader or the manager, CEO, needs to respect you and your personality, how you do things, and you also have to respect them, their goal, their vision, their mission, their personality, and the way that they do things. And guys, remember that with respect, little life lesson, respect doesn't mean that I always have to agree with what you are saying or what you are doing. It's not about 100% agreeing with you. It means that I acknowledge your way of doing things and I respect your way of doing things. I might not necessarily agree with it, but I'm not rude or disrespectful towards you because your way of doing things differs from my way of doing things. Then they influence employees' understanding of how the firm operates, and they make the firm attractive to new employees. One of the first questions that people will ask when they start at a company is, tell me about the managers, tell me about the culture of the company. And if you sit there and go, oh, like you have to like see this one manager, like they are so rude. Or imagine a new employee starts and you're like, listen, please just like watch out for person A. Okay, they are like the worst. Or person A is always in a bad mood. Okay, I mean, that's not nice. It doesn't make the firm attractive to new employees. It doesn't even make the firm attractive to prospective employees. Then the next thing we're going to look at is the leadership styles. So guys, the leadership styles are on page 512. And that's why I wrote the additional words here, because I want you guys to, these are like the keywords, is that in your leadership styles, you want empowerment. Remember, we don't want little minions that just work for us and they don't think, they don't contribute, consciously contribute to the company. They're just kind of there. They work 8 to 5 and then they're done. That's what we don't want. We want empowerment. We want to teach them. We want them to learn something. We also want employee participation. We want our employees to participate in the business. They might have the best ideas. So when we look at leadership styles, the first one is the visionary leader. So the visionary leader mobilizes people towards a shared vision. Remember that when we spoke about vision, mission, you guys remember this from last year as well. This is about getting everyone in the business to agree with your vision and your mission. And that's why I always say to you guys is that if our employees don't know where we're going, everyone is going to be confused. Imagine we're all sitting in a car and we're all going on a holiday, but I don't tell you guys where we're going. Everyone's going to be confused. Everyone's going to have questions. And that's the last thing that we want. The next one is coaching. So coaching leaders or a coach will develop the people by establishing a relationship and trust. Then we have the team builder. They promote emotional bonds and have organizational harmony. The populist builds consensus through participation. So they're also similar to the team builder. They want people to participate. The paragon sets challenging and exciting standards and expects excellence. And the last one, the general. The general demands immediate compliance. So guys, the general is actually the most, how can I say, like the most negative leadership style, because you're not always going to have compliance. If you explain to people what you want them to do and they don't 100% understand or they don't 100% agree with you, and you say to them, well, I've just told you what to do and you are going to do that, you're not going to get compliance from them. Okay, so the general is actually the most dangerous leadership style. Guys, with this leadership style, what I want you guys to know is that a leader is not only going to have one of these leadership styles. You might have one of them with a person, and at another time it will differ again. You are going to have a little bit of all of these leadership styles sometimes. It depends on the situation, depends on the environment that the business is in. So don't think that you can only be a visionary leader and that's it, because that is not the truth. You can be all of these with different people, different circumstances, different times. So guys, when we look at leaders that shape the culture of the organization, and that's why I put a little quote on there, that leaders create the culture. Remember that as a manager one day, your employees are going to look up to you. They're going to look up to you as to how are you steering the ship, how are you approaching difficult situations, how are you standing up for your employees. So leaders that shape the culture of the organization have empowerment. They empower the employees, like we said in the earlier slide. They give the employees that authority to make their own decisions, to take actions on their own. They don't make the employees feel stupid and say, oh, you know, I knew you were going to do that, or I knew you were going to mess this up. They rather say to them, you know what? I can see how you approach this. Do you understand how why it didn't work? And why then from there, why should we rather do better? Okay, guys, let me quickly check. Are the descriptions you're giving? Yes. So Chaba, they're on the textbook. They're on page 512. Okay, 512. You guys can find the descriptions of the leadership styles in the textbook. Then a culture that a good leader will also cultivate in organization is self-managed work teams. Imagine you are a manager one day and you can proudly look at your employees and they are proudly working together, collaborating, sharing ideas, asking each other, listen, you know, I'm struggling with this. How can you help me? How did you do that? Imagine how proud you will be. Imagine an employee comes to you and say, I want to know, is it okay if I go for lunch at 12 o'clock? Okay. Or hi, I don't know how to answer this email. Imagine that. That is not self-managed work teams. You want to empower your employees so that they can actually have the freedom to function on their own. They can actually think for themselves. Then you want to have a good working environment. Like in the textbook, they say workers are affected by their surroundings. So if you are going to be a manager that screams and shouts at everyone the whole day, throws papers around, throws a stapler against the wall, it's not going to be a very favorable working environment. If you're going to call people stupid and say to them that, oh, you know, I never should have employed you, it's not going to create a very good environment. You are going to lose employees based on the environment that you create. You want to have an environment that encourages people to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. Then you also want to have good hiring. You want people that will fit into the company, that will fit into the personality of the company. If you, for instance, guys, and I'm going to see if I can quickly find this for you. Just give me like 2 seconds. But I'm going to keep on talking because I want to show this to you guys. If you, for instance, have a company like King Price, I don't know if you guys do not follow King Price on Instagram, please do. Let me quickly find King Price. Please follow King Price on Instagram, guys. They, for me personally, are the coolest company. Let me quickly see if I can find. They did this thing the other day where they actually showed what the company is about. It was the coolest thing. I think it's this one. Let me just quickly see if it's this one. Okay, I'll show you guys now. They did like a little video on King Price. Let me quickly just share this. I want to show this to you guys. This is the coolest thing, personally, I think. I hope this works. Okay. You just... Guys, I'm sorry, but isn't King Price like the coolest company to work for? I really feel so. I know I don't even know anyone in King Price, guys. I'm definitely not promoting King Price. I just honestly feel like it is the coolest company to work for. They just look so cool. Everything about them is cool. So when you, for instance, work for King Price and you are busy employing or hiring someone for King Price, you have to clearly look at what type of person is going to fit in to King Price. What is the personality of the firm? Because if you employ someone that is not going to fit into the firm, you're going to lose that person. And initially, or essentially, actually would have wasted all the money of hiring, getting recruiters, going through the CVs. You would have wasted all that time and money. Rather do it properly the first time and make sure that you get someone that actually will make a positive contribution to the firm. So guys, then the next thing we're going to look at is okay, so we're moving on to theme 2 now. So guys, in theme 2, so this is 19.2 in your textbook. So the small business management process. So guys, what I did is I kind of converted all the issues in the management firms, and I kind of made it for you guys into a mind map. So the first one is the founders as managers. We have resource constraints, managerial weakness, the firm growth and managerial practices, and then the professional level management. So guys, when we, for instance, start with the founders as managers, the problem that we have here is that your manager initially was the founder. So they are sometimes so focused on where they see the business, how their vision looks like, on where they want the business to go, that they sometimes get irritated. So they're so focused on being the founder, they've actually forgotten to be a manager. So in your textbook, they say mental models for managing are based on the way they are treated in earlier business experiences or in family relationships. So guys, what happens here is that sometimes that founder or that manager will treat you as an employee the same way that they were treated when they were a new employee, or the way that they are maybe treated in their family relationships. I will lean more towards the way that they were treated when they were an employee, because they feel that that is the only way that I'm going to get results, is to be tough or to be the fun manager. And remember, guys, that not every management style is going to work on every single employee. So you might have to change your management style a little bit to accommodate each and every employee. Some employees might need a little bit more guidance. They need someone that explains to them what to do, where other employees, you can essentially say to them, this is what I want you to do, and you know that they will do it. So guys, another thing that I want to say there is that remember that you always have to be a professional. You have to be professional. We can't make jokes and improper comments inside of a business and think that it's funny. This is not the place to make friends and to have your little bad jokes. This is a business that we work in. Yes, we need to cultivate an environment that is friendly, that is supportive, where people can be themselves, but there's a place for everything. And guys, I can promise you that place is not always at work. So guys, the next thing that we're going to look at is the resource constraints. So guys, on page 516, they actually speak to Sarah Blakely, and Sarah Blakely is the owner of Spanx. So just to the guys and anyone that don't know, Spanx is actually a shapewear for women. So what Sarah said there, that I'm going to read this to you guys. She said, after 2 years, so she hired a CEO 2 years after startup, and she said there, and she gave up control of the tasks that did not align with her natural skills. The person who starts a company from the ground up is not always the best person to grow it. Can you guys remember, we spoke about this in some of the earlier chapters. I think it was in chapter 2 or chapter 3. We spoke about the fact that an entrepreneur is not always a good manager. Sometimes entrepreneurs just want to see the gap, open a company, and then they move on to the next company. So as a manager or as an entrepreneur one day, you need to recognize your managerial weakness. What is your weakness? And hire someone for your weaknesses, so that you can actually focus on your strengths. And this is what Sarah did. So later on the top of page 516, she said that she now focuses on, I think, on the marketing, and she focuses on, I think, product development or something. She's actually the youngest self-made female billionaire in the world. Okay. So guys, the next thing that we're going to look at is the resource constraints, like I said. And the problem with my resource constraints is that when we start a company, we normally have a very small bank account. You're not going to have that 5 million. It's not going to be as if you won the lotto. So you don't have a lot of money to spend. We really have to see how we can use the money that is available to us and the resources that is available to us to the best of our abilities. Also, you're going to have very limited staff. So some of the staff might have to fulfill 2 roles, for instance. The sales manager might have to be the marketing manager as well. HR might have to, for instance, help with recruitment or help with contracts. And you also won't be able to afford the experts yet. So you won't be able to afford the people that have had 20 or 30 years experience that want that 1 million rand salary a year. Okay, so I'm going to have resource constraints. So guys, what I want you to do for me, okay, I want you guys to really do this activity, and then we can discuss it afterwards. So your business startup, okay, essentially you guys have all now started a business, is now starting to grow. You as the entrepreneur now face some challenges. Outline at least 2 issues or challenges that you would face in your growing business, and explain how both your role as the nature of the small business, your role and the nature of the small business will change as the business grows. So guys, I'm going to give you 10 minutes for this activity, and then we can discuss this after the 10 minutes is up. Okay. So quickly go in and think of 2 issues or challenges that you face in your business, and then also explain how your role as well as the nature of the small business will change as the business grows. Guys, if you have your challenges and also your role and the nature of the small business change, if you have those, you're welcome to post them in the chat box along. I'm going to give you guys another 4 minutes and then we are going to discuss them. Okay, so guys, please, let's continue. So please, in the chat box, outline 2 issues or challenges that you guys think you will face if you want to open your own small business. Maybe some of you guys already have Okay, Megan says cash flow and financial management as well as planning ahead. I agree with you. Guys, remember also when you have your own business, you don't always have time, you won't always have the money yet to really hire someone that's going to do your books for you. So you might struggle with planning that financial management, how to manage my money. You might even struggle with how to pay taxes with your business. You're going to have to research and find out all of that info. So guys, anyone else with challenges? Increase variety of different personalities of employees, 100%. And guys, that's what I said earlier about there's a difference between a founder and a manager. And as a manager, you will have to learn on how to work with everybody's personality. I mean, every single one of us have different personalities. And as a manager, you have to know that you can't treat all employees the same, because the way that you treat one employee just won't work with another employee. Okay, different skills and different attitudes, 100%, Megan. We need to remember, like I also said to you guys, you're not going to have enough money to really employ someone that might only be good in the financial part of the business. So you need someone that's good at a lot of things. And guys, this is just like a little tip for one day when you start looking for work. Companies like to hire people that have a lot of skills. So I'm not saying you can type and you can speak, you can do public speaking. I'm talking about you need to really go and look at what skills you have, and you need to explain to them all the different skills that you possess. If a company can see that they can essentially put you in any department, and that you will still cope in that department, that you will be a good attribute to that department, they are going to hire you, or the chances of hiring you will be much bigger than hiring someone who maybe only wants to work in a certain department, or they only feel comfortable in working in a certain department. So if you guys are doing some part-time jobs at the moment, try and work up your skills. Okay, try and learn new skills. That's why even waitressing. I mean, guys, you're learning on how to work with people that are super duper difficult. You're learning on how to remember something as simple as just an order, for instance. Time management. You can't chat and the people's food, for instance, goes cold. So even if you were a waiter, you have learned certain skills. And you can one day when you actually go for an interview, you can say to them, these are the skills I've learned as a waiter. These are the skills I've learned as an au pair. So don't just say, oh no, I was a waiter. No, you were a waiter. Okay. You learned some skills. So guys, let's continue. So the next thing that we're going to look at, and that's actually why I asked you guys to give me some issues and challenges before we actually continue. So the last one that we're going to look at is, let me just quickly go back, is the firm growth and the managerial practices. So guys, this is just a nice organogram that I essentially got that shows how all the different stages that an organization goes through. So the first stage is a one-person operation. Okay, I mean, it's your own business. You're doing your own thing. Everyone's happy. But then you are just getting too busy. You're just not getting to everything. And you have to start employing people. Then you have a player coach operation. You might just have 2 or 3 people. And now you have people that can actually help you with the work that you have to do. But you can also coach them at the same time. Then after that, you will move on where you might get more employees, but now you have to start employing managers as well. So you will have intermediate supervision. You'll have your managers that are managing your employees, and you essentially have to manage your managers. And then stage 4 is a formal organization. Okay, so this is where you'll have your managers, different departments. Those managers will break down into smaller managers, for instance. So you might have a marketing department. The marketing department will break down into production, sales, customer relations, for instance. And underneath that department, you'll have your employees. So this is the stages that a business goes through. And guys, remember when we spoke about what is a small business management and what is an entrepreneur, remember that some organizations stay in stage one. It depends on where the organization wants to go or what the vision of the entrepreneur is. So some companies stay in stage two. It's the manager or the owner, and he has 2 or 3 employees and everyone is happy. Not every single company is going to end up in stage 4. So guys, here's just I just basically explained everything to you. So stage 1, like we said, is a one-person operation that you do all the work, you make contact with your customers, then player coach, you will also do some of the work, but you will, through learning, although learning to hire and supervise. So this is where you'll start hiring employees and you'll also supervise those employees. Intermediate supervision is where you'll start working through intermediate managers. So you'll start employing managers. And then the formal organization, this is where you'll start having plans, budgets, policies, procedures, different departments as well. That will also fall under the formal organization. So guys, the next slide is not in your textbook, but I just saw and I thought it's also a nice way to depict how the different stages are. So in a one-person stage, your time spent on managing is very little. And remember, it's essentially just you. So if you manage someone, and you might end up managing yourself. Then you're the player coach. You are still working, but the time that you are managing is increasing. Intermediate supervision, formal organization, guys can see that the time that you have to spend managing people is now increasing. And that is why management is so important. So guys, we are moving on to 19.3. So 19.3, we are going to look at 4 different things. And guys, this is quite a large part of the chapter because we are going to discuss every single activity separately. So what I want you guys to see here, so we are going to look at planning activities, creating an organizational structure, leading and delegating, and controlling operations. Does this sound familiar? Planning, organizing, leading, controlling. It's pork. Can you guys remember from first year? You guys did planning, organizing, leading, controlling. I always say to students, you're going to learn this as pork. This is pork, entrepreneurial management. So the first one we're going to look at is planning activities. So guys, the first question that we have to ask ourselves is, why do we have to plan? Why, as a manager, do we need planning? And the benefits of formal planning is that you're going to have improved productivity. Remember, like I said to you guys earlier, imagine we're in a car and I'm like, hi guys, going on holiday, super, everyone's happy, getting into the car, we're driving, and everyone's like, okay, but where are we going? Okay. And then we're going to Bloemfontein, and then we're like, oh no, we actually don't want to go here. Let's rather go to Bombela. Okay, now we're going to Bombela. Oh no, also no, halfway. Let's rather go to Cape Town. If you have a plan, you are going to be productive, and your employees are going to be productive, because everyone is going to know what is expected of them and where they have to be. Then there's better focus on goal attainment. Guys, remember that our goals come from our vision and our mission. Remember, vision says, where are we going? And my mission says, how am I going to get there? And you'll break that down. You'll break your mission down into achievable goals. Then you have credibility with the stakeholders. The suppliers know what's happening. Your customers know what's happening. Guys, if you don't have a plan, you're essentially just falling around. Okay. You don't want to fall here. You don't want to fall there. It's expensive. And the one thing we don't want to waste in a small business is money. Then the next thing we're going to look at is the planning time. So with the planning time, they talk here about the tyranny of the urgent. So what this essentially refers to is that there's always something that is urgent. Okay, there's always something that we have to do first. So with this is that everyone's always saying, but mine is urgent, or this is urgent. So the tyranny of being urgent is that not every single plan is always urgent. And as a manager, you have to differentiate between what is really urgent and what can wait. Okay. If there's a deadline and you still need to perform some of the activities for the deadline, that will be more urgent than making sure that you have compiled your source documents for the end of June. Then planning requires discipline. You have to be disciplined. Guys, I mean, you can apply this to your studies as well. You need discipline. If you want to plan your semester, you have to actually sit down and plan. And then it should not be postponed. Okay, if you just postpone the planning, you are essentially not going to get anywhere. What we also said earlier in the chapter is we want employee participation. Guys, remember, they're not just there to get a salary, work 8 to 5 and leave. We want to empower them. Use them as a planning resource. Ask them, what do you think? What do you feel? How do you think we need to do this? They might have better ideas than what you have. Then the next thing we're going to look at is, let me just put my little pointer off. Okay, then the next thing we're going to look at, so guys, this is also under planning activities. This is on page 519. So on page 519, and guys, these are just the definitions. So they have the different types of plans. I'm quickly going to go through this, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So the long range plan, the strategic plan, this is the overall plan for the future. Guys, this is derived from your vision. This is your vision and mission. Okay. Short range plan. So this is a plan that governs a firm's operations for 1 year or less. Can you guys remember last year, guys, the top management, middle, and lower level management? Can you guys see how what you studied last year is really coming together this year? Long range is what top management essentially does. And remember, top management plans anything from 5 to 10 years. Short range, anything from day to day to 1 year. And this is done by my lower level management. Then what is a budget? Budget expresses future plans in monetary terms. We have our business policies. So these are any regulations or statements that provide guidance for managerial decision making. Procedures are the methods to be followed in business activities. And guys, it's very nice to have a procedure document, because if something happens and everyone kind of looks around and said, ooh, we've never had a situation like this, or we don't know what to do, you can refer them back to the procedure document, say, but follow the procedure. We've already thought of this issue. We've already thought of this problem. Go back to the procedure document. And then the standard operating procedure. So this is the established method of how we conduct our business activity. Okay. So guys, the standard operating procedures essentially means that this is the way that our business is conducted. This is the way that we manufacture our products. This is the way that we are making our money. So guys, the next thing we're going to look at is the organizational structure. In a company, we want to create an organizational structure. So maybe when we start our business, it's quite small, it's just us. You might have one employee, and the structure that we have might be an unplanned structure. So an unplanned structure requires little conscious planning. Okay, both of us and our one employee or two employees, we kind of fall into our natural roles. Okay, one person answers the phone, that's the person that always answers the phone. And the structure will change as the firm changes, as the firm grows. So we will go from a very unplanned structure to a planned structure as the firm grows. And the growth obviously then creates that need for structural change. Guys, then the chain of command. So with the chain of command, this refers to the official vertical channel of communication in an organization. So when we go to one of the other slides, I'll show you guys how it works. Remember, it's vertical because it will go from top management to middle to lower level management and then to the employees. And guys, remember, it does depend on the size of the company. If it's just you and your two employees, the chain of command will go from you to the employees. But the thing I want you guys to remember here is that your chain of command is two-way communication. So as much as you give instructions down the chain, you also need to allow your employees to be able to give feedback to you as the manager or as the CEO. So that is why it's not a one-way communication. It is not a downward communication. It is a two-way communication. Guys, then the next thing we're going to look at is the span of control. So the span of control refers to, oops, sorry guys. Okay. I have no idea why this thing just jumps. Okay. So the span of control refers to the number of subordinates that is supervised by one manager. So guys, with the span of control, it refers to the amount of employees that you have that's working underneath you as a supervisor or as a manager. Okay, so guys, I just want to do 2 more slides, then we're done for today. So when we look at the line organization, and I'll show you guys on the next slide, a line organization is where each person reports to one supervisor. So you'll have your workers, your worker reports to the foreman reports to the manager reports to the CEO. Okay. The other form of organizational structure we can have is line and staff organization. So guys, line and staff organization is very similar to a line organization. I mean, it says line and staff organization, but it also includes specialists who will assist the management team. So if you guys look at this one again, very similar. I have my salespeople reporting to my sales manager. My sales manager reports to the president. The staff part of this organization, this is cool. Staff part of the organization, not that one, refers to the assistant to the president and the human resource manager. It says here, specifically says here, includes specialists who assists management. And those specialists are the HR manager, assistant. Guys, you can put legal assistants in here. You can put an accountant in here, for instance, depending on how big or small the company is. Then the other two, we have line activities. So these are the activities contributing directly to the objectives of the firm. So guys, if we look at this depiction again, the activities that the workers do contributes directly to the objectives of the firm. So whatever they report to the foreman will help the foreman create his or finalize his report that he can give to the manager, and everything combined that all of these people are doing. Okay. all of these activities combined creates the objectives of the company, helps meet the objectives of the organization. Guys, staff activities is activities that support the line activities. Staff activities are not activities that are pertinent or, how can I say, maybe important to the job, or to actually to meet the objectives of the company. They're just there as a supporting function. Okay. So guys, that's it. I'm going to stop here for today. We are going to end with 19.3, line and staff organization. And then when I see you guys again, so guys, I'm only going to see you again after test week, because you guys have a LAC session on the 12th of May. So guys, on the 12th of May, I'm going to give you guys another past paper to work out for me. Remember, we haven't done a past paper on chapter 4 and chapter 5. Okay, not really a past paper, but like a possible questions kind of thing. So I'm going to give you guys another possible questions past paper to work out for me. I really want you guys to do it. And then it's test week. And then I only see you guys again at the end of May. Okay, and then we will finish this chapter. Okay, so guys, any questions that you guys might have, please ask me. If there's anything that I can still help you with. If there's nothing else, and that concludes today's class. So guys, thank you very much for entertaining me. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, more than welcome to ask. I know your brains are probably fried at this point. There's a lot of pressure on you guys, but like I said to the other class, little bites. Okay, just take little bites. You guys know that a hamburger just tastes so much better if you take small bites. It also lasts longer. So small bites. Okay, make a to-do list every day. Start with your assignments along. Even if you just do a question a day, okay, that is fine. Do not try and do an assignment the day before.